Hello, my name is Chris Arnett, and I want to talk about the true origin of race riots in America. Anytime you hear someone criticizing black people for rioting, I want you to share this information with them. But first, let me thank Christina Arthur and Suzette Irving on Facebook who gathered this information and put it out there. Prior to the 1960s, rioting or race riots consisted of whites burning down and destroying black communities simply because they didn't want them there. Mostly in major northern, western, and midwestern cities where the population of blacks grew tremendously due to what's called the Great Migration. See, blacks fled from the Jim Crow dominated South to seek refuge and to find jobs and homes in the North. The competition was fierce. Thousands and thousands of blacks flooded the cities, resulting in what's called white flight. That's where black people move in and white folks flee to another area. White people were angry that blacks were taking over jobs and building their own communities. Even white soldiers that had been stationed away from home were furious when they came back to this new change. And this is how the race riots started. Whites were not too happy about the desegregation in their cities. With subliminal attempts, if you call these two studs beating an old black man subtle or subliminal, but with subliminal attempts to keep their cities segregated, blacks were not allowed in the white part of town. Black homes and communities were destroyed and burned down by angry white mobs, and countless deaths occurred, as I'll talk about in just a moment. Here are only just a few examples of race riots that took place in our country. The big one, 1921, May 30th, June 1st, Tulsa, Oklahoma, okay? Now, it was called the Black Wall Street in Tulsa, OK. We call it OK, Oklahoma. What happened was black folks had a community where the money circulated about 12 times within that community. They had several hospitals, several movie theaters. They lived in big homes. They drove big, nice cars. Next to this area was a white community where poor white people lived. And one day, a black male who worked in the white community as an elevator operator, or actually he was going up in an elevator, rather words, and a young white girl who was an elevator operator yelled that he touched her. And that started a race riot that caused the first bombing of any American land in the United States. White folks from the air, they bombed the community. They burned it down. There was even a black man who had just got home from the war. He said, they're not going to do that to me because I'm a soldier. He stood in attention in front of his house. They shot him down like a dog and then robbed him of everything. They burned the entire community down. 1922, May 6th, June through June 9th, in Kerwin, Texas, there was a race riot. 1923, January 1st, we of course know of Rosewood, the Rosewood Massacre. Let me say something about the Rosewood Massacre. As we now know that the woman in that massacre, caused that massacre, she lied. She was actually having sex with another man, and she said she was raped by a black man. She lied. Let's go on. 1930, October 12th through 15th, St. Genevieve, Missouri. 1931, March, Scottsboro, Atlanta. White folks rioted. 1935, March 19th, Harlem. New York Harlem riot of 1935. 1943, May, Mobile, Atlanta. 1943, June, Los Angeles, California. The Zoot Suit riot. Now, I can't imagine white folks in zoot suits rioting. That sounds kind of funny to me, but what happened was not very funny. 1943, June 15th to 16th in Beaumont, Texas, the Beaumont Race Riot of 1943. Also in 1943, June 20th, Detroit, Michigan, the Detroit Race Riot. Look it up. 1943, August 1st, Harlem, New York, Harlem riot of 1943. 1949, August, September, Peekskill, New York. 1951, July 11th through 12th, Cicero County, Illinois, the Cicero Race Riot. Look it up. 1958, Maxton, North Carolina, Battle of Hayes Pond. 1959, the year I was born, February, Pearl River County, MS. 1960, April, Biloxi Beach, MS. A lot of trouble came out of Missouri. 1962, October, Oxford, MS. Uni of Mississippi. Now that's at a university. I have photos of a black woman, a black child, or let's say a young adult, being escorted to college, to school, by military personnel against an angry Caucasian mob. Recently, my mother, who is from Arkansas, said she would love to go back home, but she's afraid of being hung. That's my mother. She said she was afraid that she would be hung. Think about that. Is your mother, if you're Caucasian, afraid to go back to her hometown because she might get hung? I mean, that's your mother. She's afraid? Here in America? Are you kidding me? The stupidity and nonsense has to end. 1963, September 30th, Oxford. Again, MS. Ole! Mississippi riot. 1963, July 11th, Cambridge. MD. Cambridge riot of 63. 1963, May 13th, Birmingham. Now that's a town that is infamous in history. Atlanta bombings. Who bombs a church? What kind of people would bomb a church? I ask you. These racists are sick. It's time for the Caucasian race to expel them. 1964, July, Brooklyn, New York. 1964, July 18th, Harlem. The New York Harlem riot of 1964. 1964, July 24th to 26th, Rochester, New York. The Rochester riot. White folks have been rioting for a long time, it looks like. Destroying property, killing people. That's one of the big differences. They were killing people. 1964, August, Jersey City, New Jersey. 1964, August, Paterson, New Jersey. It goes on, my friends. These are just a few of them. 1964, August, Elizabeth, New Jersey. 1964, in August, Chicago, Illinois. 1964, August 28th, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, PA. Philadelphia, 1964, race riot. It goes on and on. 1965, March 7th, Selma, Atlanta. It's called Bloody Sunday. Who got bloodied? Who got bloodied? 1965, July, Springfield, MA. And that's it. Just a few of them. I only listed a few. Anytime someone brings up how blacks are rioting, bring this information up.